I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first thing we have on our agenda is approval of minutes, public and non-public, from January 14th. I just want to say, since Dawn is here remotely tonight, she's under the weather and wanted to keep us from getting sick. Thank you very much, Dawn. This is the warrant signature. So all votes will have to be roll call tonight, just so you know. Entertain a motion on the minutes from the 14th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from January 14th, both public and non-public.
Okay, have a second?
Can I second
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, you can second.
I'll second.
All right. Okay, discussion on this. Any comments, questions, concerns on either of those?
I didn't see anything. So.
No, I reviewed this earlier, and it matched my memory, so. All right. Cool. All right then. Well, with that being said, we're going to do a roll call vote. So if you're in favor, signify by saying aye. Danielle, or you can say
Abstain.
abstain.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. And Tim is yay. Kathleen?
A.
Aye. Okay. Oh.
Aye. Yeah. Aye.
Yes.
And Dawn.
Aye.
All right, there we go. Thank you. So Danielle abstained, and that's a fun way to do it, I guess.
Yeah.
You just say abstain or nay. So, all right. Public comment. There's no public here tonight, so maybe not. All right. Open the night for public comment. Okay. First up, we have student representative report. Lily, you have a written report that you gave us. We'll get that emailed to you, Dawn, and everyone else on the board is not here tonight. Take it away.
Alright, for the sports, there have been a lot of games that have happened and are continuing to happen. Girls basketball is playing Hopkinton right now. Boys are playing Hopkinton away right now. Indoor track and field went to Pinkerton Academy yesterday, and there have been banner ceremonies celebrated last week. And above in this little picture, there's a whole list of other sports events happening.
That's very handy. I like that for board members. Like, we've never gotten that on a student report, so I think like that's the type of thing that board, like, you go, oh, you know what? I'm not doing anything Friday night. I'll go on a game. You know. Yeah, go ahead.
Jazz band meets every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7 to 7:45 in the morning. It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Theater rehearsals are in full swing for both Ride the Cyclone and Little Shop. AV Club has a lot going on all the time. There's the radio show downstairs with Brody and August.
Cool.
There's a group of students commentating games, usually Brody, August, and Kane. There's streaming of games every game. The cycling rehearsals. There's a field trip to the London Opera House this Thursday. And the Film Society is showing Jumanji: The Next Level.
Cool.
For the business club, they're doing flower sales and a snack cart during Winter Carnival. Math team is waiting for their next month's math meet, and they had a team photo taken a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Student council is busy with Winter Carnival plans, both dance and spirit days, other events, all sorts of stuff. Teacher appreciation projects are also going on. The freshmen are working on participating in their Winter Carnival lip syncs and preparing for their concessions next month. All of the classes are working on their lip syncs. It is very important for everybody. The Quiz Bowl is also taking place Saturday from 8 a.m. to 2, according to the calendar. NHS is traveling over to the elementary schools on Friday to read to the little kids. A group of students are also offering to care for children during the deliberative session on Saturday morning for NHS. Second semester is going on. Started Monday with new classes and all sorts of stuff. On March 7th, Mascoma students will be participating in the New Hampshire Special Olympics floor plunge on Lake Winnipesaukee, and they'll be raising money to support their event. And Excello and Promenade have lists of scholarships specifically for the seniors to look at. And one of our exchange students, Joanna, went back to Germany this weekend. We'll miss her.
Oh, cool. Any questions for Lily on that?
This is great. One thing that, just in case you have to leave after your session and aren't here for the wellness report out, we talked about food drives that clubs in classes might be doing, and our connections with the Friends of Mascoma Food Pantry just reminded us that whenever we can connect student groups that are doing food drives with the folks at the pantry, so that they can let you know exactly what kind of things they're most in need of, that's a great way to just tie together the different initiatives to make sure that everyone is able to be efficient with their planning. So just wanted to pass that on.
Cool. Yeah, thank you so much. If you haven't checked out, we were just chatting before the meeting. If you haven't watched any of the home basketball games, do tune in because the students are commentating. They're actually like you're watching a game, and it's cool. They get better every time, and it's a lot of fun to see. So, all right, thank you, Lily. Okay, and also thank you to NHS because they, like you said, they're going to be doing childcare during deliberative sessions, so that way families can come to our deliberative session on Saturday. So that's awesome. All right, up next is Wellness Committee.
So you've got notes in your packet with our regular updates. We're working on, Mr. Simula is working on getting us a student representative to have as part of the Wellness Committee. So that was tabled so he could continue to reach out to students that might be interested. Again, students that participate can totally talk to us about ELO opportunities.
Oh, yeah.
As part of of participating in this sort of stuff. The food pantry updates, as I mentioned, we talked about the Thanksgiving box distributions and some of the other boxes that go out. Thanksgiving, Christmas, February, and April breaks are the ones that are specifically worked on. Summer boxes don't necessarily work very well, so those are the 4 big times that that has that's happening. Again, food service update. We talk more about free reduced meals and the signups for that, and the struggle that we've had with some of the lingering balances. There's a few other things. Composting has been happening. For those of you that wondered about that, not really much goes on during the winter because of the weather, but there's composting that's happening, I think, on this campus. Maybe was it also EBS?
EBS has some too.
Yeah.
I have an update actually done.
Okay, great. There was a wellness fair in September, so we had a little bit of information about that and some other community connections and opportunities for student and family education on important topics like mental health, vaping, nutrition, that sort of stuff. And also some different things that are happening on the faculty level due to connections that we have with Dartmouth Health and some grants, and so some March PD will be happening, and that will be very beneficial to our district. We also worked on some policy stuff, and we'll have our next meeting in April.
Cool. Just on composting, Rick would not have known this, but through my work, I helped Heather Oliver, or I got Heather Oliver as a part to write a part of a grant that we applied for solid waste through the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Yeah. And so this would allow her to do vermiculture, which is worm composting, and regular composting at IRS. So we'll see what happens with that. So.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, yeah.
There was, as part of as an addendum to the minutes, you'll see the negative balances, just in case you're curious. Overall for the district, as of the time of this particular report, it was a total of $6,147.76.
Okay. All right, any questions for Danielle on that for wellness? All right. In your packet, you also have the minutes of the budget committee from last Wednesday. Most all of us were there. And so, that's just informational, so that we have that. EIC is the next thing. Hope, you want to talk about that?
Sure. Basically, Stephanie Cooney was presenting the studies changes in the, program of studies changes. They had done some nice, thoughtful things to the program of studies. There were some changes in the math department. There was a bit of discussion about that with replacing Algebra 1A and 1B with Algebra 1 and Lab. They were looking at some of the ramifications and to make sure that all the students who had taken it were covered fully through the 4 years. There were some changes to the science department, which was based on a student survey. They were going to add marine biology and science of survival. And then the social studies also surveyed students, and they requested philosophy again. They're going to now be teaching the senior seminar. It's going to be done through social studies. Let's see, and there were some exciting changes in the music department. They're going to be offering a guitar ensemble class for all participants and a percussion class, and they're hoping to add a music theory and a music in TV and film class. And we went over, that's about it. So the program of studies is here. We went and looked at our goals for the year just to see if we were, having everything covered and what the committee responsibilities were. We looked at there is a diversity, equity, and inclusiveness goal there, and I suggested that we potentially look at our FAFSA coverage and the kids that on the lower, just to make sure all kids are getting as much access to that as possible. So, but we just bantered that about a bit, but nothing happened. That's it.
Okay. Any questions for Hope? That was great. That's a lot of cool updates to the high school program, especially the math. Like I think that's a much better alignment. Same thing with the getting to see more math that will be on the SAT earlier. That's awesome. So, and I like how they survey students, and this is a good reflection of like surveying students and like getting classes that they want. So that's awesome. So cool, very cool. All right. Up next, we got Superintendent's report.
You do have my written report included in your packet. We had 22 high school students, chorus band and jazz band, go to the Lakes Region Musical Festival. I believe we had 2 solo performances there.
Surprised when I got there.
2 solo performances there, our own Lily Gunnarsson and Adelaide Josephson.
Yeah.
So well done to both of them.
This is the first year they did a jazz band.
Yeah, that's great.
Great.
We have deliberative session on Friday. We hope to see a strong turnout for that. Oh, well, let's come Saturday.
Yeah, how about that?
Let's not come on Friday. I'm looking forward to Friday, apparently. We did send out the link. We've sent out the link to the food boxes multiple times. I know we had an overwhelming or fairly strong response with the first time we sent it out. I think within the first 10 or 15 minutes, we had about 17 or 18 replies already. So we're happy to see that. Q2 report cards are headed out to people soon. Anyone that needs some extra help, we're halfway through the year, should look at tutor.com. I believe that information was also included in part of the newsletter, but we'll be sending more information out to parents. It's a free program. We've had great success with kids that have used it. Available to students grades 4 through 12, any subject area at all, any time of the day. So a nice something that the New Hampshire Department of Ed provides for us. And so I've got a couple of updates. One just comes to us recently today and is a little bit fuzzy, and it talks about the freeze in federal funds. I believe that we are okay. From what people can glean from the freeze, It should not impact the current funds that have already been allocated for the school year. The one potential exception is the USDA reimbursable meals thing, so we will be watching that carefully. Otherwise, IDEA that serves our special education population should be all set. Title I for this year should be all set. Title IV, which does some professional development for us, should be all set for this year. The ESSER funds that we have received late liquidation for should be all set, so we should be able to pay for the HVAC replacement at EBS, should be covered. Now, does that mean that we will see the same allocations in FY26 when they look at those Title I funds? Who knows at this point? So it will be wait and see. So right now we have, April is working with the people that are currently employed with us with Title I funds. You know, those are Title I tutors at some of our schools. They are, you know, our family liaison. All those people need to be aware that if that funding is cut, most likely those positions will go with it. Those are 100% federally funded through Title I. So we'll be looking at supporting our students in other ways, academically, should we lose our tutors and such. But right now I want to give everybody the fair heads up. So if you were a Title I tutor and you wanted to continue your employment here with the district, you should be looking at a para position, which we have a lot, or a teaching position, or something like that as we start to enter hiring season. So I just want to let the board know that we are aware of that, and it's as clear as mud right now as to exactly what the impact will be on school districts. So we're working on that. I also did learn that the 2024 versions of the Title IX regulations are no longer relevant. We have been, this comes from Will Phillips at the School Board Association. Vacatur was issued, and that means that all of the rulings and all of the rules for the 2024 stuff are vacated. So, learn a new word today. That means that we go back to the 2020 regulations and rules and procedures. So I wish Brewster were here to hear that we'll be doing a whole bunch more of those policies over again.
Wonderful.
So just brace yourself for that. And the final thing that I do want to let you all know and receive your permission for is that we have started to notice the social, emotional welfare, and I know that's a priority of the board, it's in our strategic plan, of some of especially our student athletes. And, you know, as I start to see some of our students performing or, you know, becoming upset as they're performing, I do start to find some concern in how do we best support our student athletes, and then how do we also support our kids during the day. I feel like we have, you know, school counselors available to kids during the day, should someone become upset, or our social workers here during the day, so that those kids have some support. But often these after-school activities, you know, and potentially even some of our co-curricular activities that occur after school, I am concerned about the emotional, mental coaching and support that we could be able to provide our kids in those off-school hours. The Hartford School District employs a person called Coach Joe. His last name is something. And he does run a program with them and does a lot of work, very similar to what you're seeing colleges bring in now to support some of their athletes. So they grant fund in Coach Joe, and he attends practices, he attends games, he does coping mechanisms with kids. He'll do one-on-one counseling, not counseling because he's not a counselor, let me put that out right away, but he's like a mental health coach. So we would like to give Coach Joe a try. I'd be looking for your permission. I met with him today. Hillary Schuler was with us and met with him. Hillary's done work with him through Chad and such before. You know, he's got a website. Works with one of his daughters or both of his daughters, and they are very research-based. One of the pieces of research that she shared with us today was talking to kids on sports teams about how confident they felt, not in their ability to play. It was a girls soccer teams that they did research with, not how confident they felt as a soccer player, just how confident they felt overall in general. And they used the Hartford girls team. This was a team from a few years ago, and the Lebanon girls teams. And the team in Hartford with the coaching showed they weren't so confident at the beginning of the season and gained confidence, self-confidence by the end. The Lebanon team sort of remained the same, but their ratings of how confident they felt as people were lower than the Hartford ones. And the most amazing piece to this was that Hartford at that time was 1-14 on the season, and Lebanon was 8-8. So I just thought that was a pretty powerful piece of, piece of research to show that learning some mental health coping strategies is valuable to our kids. And so we'd like to start that. Tina, Steve, Hillary, and I all met. And we'd like to start to maybe approach the Byrne Foundation. The total cost for the remainder of this year was $33,000, and I believe we can fund that half through what we have in contracted services for athletics. And that sort of, is coming from the athletic trainer funds that we haven't done, who, in my opinion, would probably be doing some of this work with kids, right? And then we'd ask the Byrne Foundation. So with the board's permission, I'd like to go ahead and move forward with that letter.
Okay. I'll make a motion to give Amanda permission to write a letter to the Byrne Foundation to ask for funds to help with the program that Coach Joe is running.
Second.
All right. This is cool. This is the kind of thing that we've talked about in terms of like how do we improve like the sportsmanship. It's not just sportsmanship. It's just like how do you deal with yourself on the court or on the field or whatever. But like it is our goal that we can our kids can win a sportsmanship award for the division or whatever. But this is good because I think with COVID, this is now they're at the age where they're like we're finding out what spots have like been missing in their development and stuff. So I think this is a good piece of that puzzle. Yeah.
The other thing that's important is to keep in mind is that the here, as with many smaller school districts or smaller high schools, the percentage of the student population that is involved with athletics is just really high, and so it's probably the highest kind of group of co-curricular activities as far as participation that we have at the high school. So it allows us to address or to kind of interact with students outside of the classroom in a way that brings to them the types of skills and resiliency. That's a buzzword that's overused, but that skill set is something that will help them not only in their athletics but also out in the classroom and in the community to be good representatives of Mascoma. So it's important.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yep.
Are the funds to be used as salary only, or are there other expenses that are needed to be covered in it?
I think this is just to cover for him coming in to do this coaching with our kids.
His compensation?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
And any materials he might need, he'll bring with him.
Yes.
Like if he has handouts or something like that. What you mean, like additional
Yeah,
materials?
I would imagine there
Yeah.
would be some miscellaneous type of things.
His contract was pretty inclusive of everything, and it didn't seem to have a lot of miscellaneous to it, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would be to cover the contract
Yeah.
is probably
Yeah.
what I should say.
Okay.
So if it, sorry, did you have
No, that's
So this is for all, boys, girls, the whole, is it all encompassing?
Yes.
And so he'd be able to pick up now in the winter, and then
He could pick up next week. I honestly, we met with him today, and I was like very, very impressed. Hillary had met with him. We had talked about this in co-curricular.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
And Hillary had contacted him, and she was like, I know this guy. He did a lot of work with Chad. She talked to some people in Hartford. I've talked to Steve Landon, who coaches in Hartford. And Steve is a very old school coach, people will tell you. And he said originally when they brought Coach Joe in, he wanted nothing to do with him and thought it was a waste of time. And he said, now I don't go anywhere without Coach Joe.
Oh, wow, that's good. That's really good to hear. That's good to hear.
You know,
So
that,
Coach Joe already has his background check cleared, right?
I'll check him again.
Yeah, I mean, if he's already working with Hartford, I'm sure that,
Yeah,
but
I'll check
obviously
him
all that
again.
stuff, yeah.
So,
And anyone else with him, yeah.
How is he in 2 places at once?
well, that was the question. I was very concerned.
Yeah, there's only one Coach Joe.
So, and, you know, Steve and
Just like
Tina had had a preliminary talk with him, and he has let Hartford know that he would like to build and expand his program, so he's not necessarily going to be available to them 5 or 6 days a week. So we'd be looking at 3 to 4 days a week, depending on the week, that he would come in and work for us. And I feel like we're getting him before other school districts, to be honest.
And he can rotate to different sports. I mean, obviously the fall has most sports and stuff, but like obviously in the spring it shouldn't be that hard. We just have baseball, softball, and track.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yep, so he would be working with all
That-
those athletes, and I think, I'll be very curious to see, you know, team sports are one thing, but the individual sports
Yeah.
for track, the individual, you know,
Mhm.
sections of track will be very interesting to see what he can do with some of those kids.
Will he be reporting to anybody, like working with the
Yes,
guy
he'll be
who comes with-
reporting directly to Steve Stebbins.
Okay, so that he would get whatever
Yes.
reports or.
And they are going to show, hold on, let me get it right. I did ask for an analytical report. So I did ask for that to be included in here. So we will have that to share out and report in the co-curriculars.
Is he a licensed social worker? Does he have any?
I'd have to look at his license. I don't believe he's a licensed social worker.
Okay.
And it would be interesting, you know, to see if he has considered or would consider working maybe with some of our, like, drama club or performances,
too.
because
Yeah.
the idea
All of
of being able to, you know, just like that performance anxiety that can come from being part of a musical group or, you know, up on stage is really similar to what you would find out in Fort Field, so.
I was going to ask about the kids that do not only that, but just like when we have those kids that do individual sports, like someone swims.
Yep.
You know, so like he'll be able to. That kid will know that he's a resource that they can go to, or will he run anything like for all the athletes at the beginning? I don't know how this program works.
I believe there's a plan for a school-wide
Okay.
talk.
Cool.
And then also he'll meet with coaches, he'll meet with Steve on a regular basis, and then he's available to kids one-on-one,
Cool.
phone calls or, you know, one-on-one sessions if they need some help. They're, you know, experiencing something particularly traumatic, he would be available for kids.
All right. Cool. Anything else? All right, we have a motion on there. Okay, all those. Okay, so we're going to do a roll call. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Danielle?
Aye.
Tim? Aye. Dawn?
Aye.
Kathleen?
Aye.
Hope?
Aye.
All right, that passes. Thank you, Amanda, for finding that. Thank you to everybody who found
I
that. Found
appreciate
Coach Joe. That sounds like a very exciting program.
I appreciate your support because I do believe this is something we need to move on quickly.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know the Lebanon Hockey Boosters are looking to have him.
Oh,
You know, they've done, they did a panel, and they're looking to have him, add him to their
Oh,
panel.
nice.
So I think they're gonna want in on Coach Joe too.
good, because that's who I was also thinking about with those kids that aren't necessarily on a full-on team. Those kids play in a co-op team, so.
Yep. And there are some specific challenges to
Yeah.
being a small part of a team, and most of the others are at a different school.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, anything else for Amanda? Any other questions? Okay.
I had one other thing, just because it was in the news recently. I'm glad that you mentioned the funding freeze and kind of being on top of that. That was one of the things that I was concerned about. The other is actually not federally related, but is related to Vermont education and some of the changes that have been,
Consolidation.
some of the
Oh, yeah.
consolidation. And one thing in particular that caught my eye was the proposal to have one statewide calendar for all districts. And just, you know, we don't have any say in that, but as we are looking, as we in the past have done, have tried to coordinate our calendar with Hartford so that our students participating in the Career Center programs can minimize conflicts. Just something to kind of be aware of.
Yeah, there is legislature out there that, for New Hampshire to have a statewide calendar. And I can't imagine what it's going to be if I have to follow the New Hampshire statewide calendar and the Vermont
Yeah.
statewide calendar, because I can only be off 10 days.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm not looking forward to that.
Yeah, I mean, we do have the inter-school districts that are that are regional in nature, you know, so checking in with Rivendell and Hanover to see.
They all follow Hartford with us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
Their kids all, so that's the problem for the Upper Valley, is
Yeah.
that our CTC program drives our calendars.
yeah,
So we're kind of our own little bubble.
Yeah.
But
So just something to kind of
Yeah.
put an asterisk beside, even if we do, approve a calendar as,
Wait till we get to it, because it's fun. We'll talk about that.
Okay, just get Vermont and New Hampshire together.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that would be nice.
That'd
That would
be
be
super
mind blowing. But that reminds me of when we had a bill in the House that would move us on daylight savings time or whatever, but it was only contingent on if Maine and Massachusetts did it. And then I got up and I said, well, what about Vermont? And they're like, yeah, whatever. They literally just blew it off. They're like, yeah, that's not that important to us.
yeah.
So best of luck getting them to agree on this.
Anyway, sorry to jump the gun.
No, that's good.
Forgot it was on our agenda.
No. All right, Business Administrator's Report. Michelle.
Okay, so my report is in the packet. Just some quick updates on the audit. It's still ongoing. I just wanted to give a little update on that. It's very close to completion, but I'm still sending things to Jim. Hoping to have that finished soon, and then I can give an update on that. Public hearing was on January 15th in the auditorium. The budget committee voted to recommend the warrant articles, as you know, and they are in the annual report, which you have tonight. As Amanda mentioned, the late liquidation was approved, which is great news, as long as we get that in still, which we hope. Johnson Controls did send out an update at the time of this report that there was 3 units left to install at EBS. I'm not sure where they are right now, but I think they're down to 1 or 2, so they're very close to the completion at Enfield. And I do have some informational documents in here from the State Office of School Finance that they released the cost per pupil by district, the state average cost per pupil and total expenditures, and the state summary revenue and expenditures. Just noted that Newfound is not in these reports. They have not finished their DOE 25, so they are excluded, so these will be updated at a later time with those numbers, but they shouldn't change too drastically. That's all I have tonight.
All right. Any questions for Michelle?
I have a question on that, and you might not know this, but the New Hampshire Department of Education, the state average cost per pupil total expenditures, where's this Part C cost per pupil? We don't break it down to middle school. Some do, some don't, it looks like.
Because we technically don't have a middle
It's not-
school.
we
We
don't.
technically have a lower elementary and upper elementary.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, just curious.
I always forget that too.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Anything else for Michelle? Okay. All right. Nothing new on the bus routes, or wait, do we have any bus route update?
No, we don't have any bus routes.
But they're training somebody. Right? Okay.
Yeah, those should start next week.
Okay. All right. Next on our agenda for new business, we have the deliberative session discussion. And we have our moderator here, Deb Ford. Welcome.
Thank you.
So we just want to invite you over since your first deliberative session on this side of the table. Anything you want to tell us, or it's your meeting, so.
No, I had Martha pull the deliberative session minutes from last year, so I'll just follow Bonnie's. I did go look back 2 years ago because she didn't say her rules last year.
That's right.
She skipped those. I'm gonna say the rules.
Good. Good. Thank you.
Yeah, so, yeah, I think I'll be prepared. I'm hoping that you'll go through the warrant tonight and say who's gonna speak to each of them.
That's right. Oh yeah, let's talk about that.
We only have 4 people.
That's right, so we can
5.
sign.
Yeah.
So we don't need to, the budget committee will speak to the budget,
And Scott,
and
but,
Scott will talk to that.
yeah,
Yeah.
but sometimes a school.
I
board
can
member
speak to that.
Something.
Because I was there, if something's needed there. Sports staff contract, I mean, I can speak to that, but there's not much to speak to, right? So I'm happy to speak to that. Finance, capital reserve, so these are the capital reserves, so facilities capital reserve. Would anyone like to speak to that?
I'm happy to do
Okay.
it, but once again, Brewster's the chair. so
Yeah,
I wanted to do it,
He might want to, we'll
and if
see.
he's there,
Yeah,
so I can be the backup.
okay, I'll reach out to him, see if
Yeah.
he, make sure he's gonna be there. Accreditation activities, would anyone like to speak to that?
Sure.
Okay, Danielle will. Cafeteria equipment, would anyone like to speak to that? I'm happy to talk to that, that's fine.
Very exciting.
Yeah, I know, it's very exciting stuff. And then sustainability capital reserve fund, I'll speak to that as well if people would like me to. All right.
If you need any numbers, please let Michelle know sooner rather than
Yes.
later.
Yes. Okay.
And then the lawyer will be here.
Yep, so 8:30, we'll meet here, I think, in the library. Just be here then.
Yeah, and I think the setup, I like the setup from last year, where everybody was up there. I did want to know, are you going to have something showing the warrant articles?
Correct.
Because then I can have somebody make a motion and I don't have to read all of them until it's time to discuss them. So at the beginning,
Oh, you have to read all of them at once? Oh, yeah,
yeah, but if they're up there,
Yeah.
that's helpful, I think, for people.
So we're getting the yes from staff. So we'll have 2 screens, two interactive flat panels, large screens with the slideshow running on those.
Yeah.
Are they on the stage or are they?
They're not, that's one of them right there,
Oh, okay.
So will they be on the stage or will they be below?
on the stage,
They'll
on
be
the
up on the
sides.
stage. Okay.
Cool.
So Deb, if you want to come in, I plan to be up here, making sure everything is correctly set up Friday, noon, 1-ish.
Yeah, I'll be in Munster.
Okay, that won't help you. But I will be here to make sure that everything is set up.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I can see you Saturday morning.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be here at 8 anyway. Where were you sitting last year? Were you
Front
down
row.
below?
Yeah,
Would you be
I
able to
can
be?
hear better in front of the speakers rather than behind.
Okay, all right.
I've, and
Okay.
nobody needs to see me. They aren't looking to me for any instruction.
Good point.
It's, the group,
All right.
but I will sit wherever.
And I'm
you'd
sure
like.
you will let me know if you can't.
Oh, definitely. And you being able to see me, it was helpful
Right.
for Bonnie.
Yes,
Because she would occasionally look at me and see if I was okay. Like when somebody spoke, she would
Right.
ask me, "Did you get that?"
like,
And
what's his name?
Yeah,
and I have
I
to
know.
look up
Yeah.
how to spell- I have to
Yeah.
look up how to spell it every time.
Yeah,
Why don't you just write it down now?
I know, right?
It'll be there, yeah.
When I type it, I say Grafton Man.
Yeah, there you go.
Go back
And then you
and
go
look
back
at
and
it
fix it.
later.
Yeah, that's easy.
So wherever you would like me,
All
so
right.
that you can make sure I'm okay and getting the information that you want me to hear, is just fine with me. I'll sit anywhere.
okay. Yeah, if that's where you can hear best, then
Yeah,
that's where you
and-
should be.
Yeah, right in front of. But if it's easier, if you're back on the stage and you want me closer to where you can see me, I'll
Yeah.
sit wherever you
Yeah,
want.
we'll check it out.
I can
when we
make it
get
work.
there. Okay, great. I think those are the only questions I have. I'm hoping it's a short and sweet meeting.
Yeah.
That's pretty standard warrant. Good.
Okay, cool. All right. Anything else? Any questions for Deb about deliberative? You got everything you need from us? Cool. All right, well, we'll see you Saturday morning.
That's the new annual meeting
All right.
book. Yeah. Very exciting.
All right, next thing on our agenda, we have the calendar for 25-26 already. So I entertain a motion on that, so we have at least a working calendar.
Make a motion that we approve the 2025-2026 school calendar as presented.
A second.
Second, all right. Amanda, did you have anything you wanted to speak to on this?
No, a little bit. So what you're seeing right now is a pretty good estimation and a pretty good following of the Hartford version. Remember, we can only be 10 days off of Hartford. I don't know if they count, Hartford schools are only for 175 days and we are 180. So there is that little bit of fluctuation there. There were a couple of changes that were made since I think we maybe gave a draft to you all for information, or I don't know, I've worked on a couple different drafts of this. The most recent one from Hartford took 2 full weeks off in, for holiday break. So in December break, took 2 full weeks off. Originally, they were thinking about going to school on the 22nd and 23rd. But then when it came down to it, they took those 2 days off. So we did just add those to the end of our calendar. So that means the last day of school for students without a snow day becomes the 15th. And then adding 1 or 2 snow days on, puts us out. The last day for students then could potentially be the 17th.
All right.
Starting school-wise, we stuck with our traditional 3, 4, 5. Also sticking with giving our parents that 4-day weekend around Labor Day. Hartford does not do that. They do a 3-day week starting on the 27th. So they go Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We have typically done a 4-day weekend for parents there. So we're off a little bit. We'll have, the 26th as our first day. And then no school on the 29th. So on that Friday. So a little bit of a variation there.
Any questions for Amanda on this? The only one I had a question on was March 20th. Is that tied to Hartford? Because I thought we were moving away from teacher days, professional development days on Fridays because of attendance issues?
We were trying to do that, but Hartford has an early release on the 19th and no school on the 20th. So we did go with that one.
Okay, all right. We'll see how it goes. How about that?
Yes, we will.
Okay. All right, just want to make sure we caught that. So, anything else? Anybody else? All right, do a roll call vote. All those in favor of adopting the 25-26 calendar as presented can say aye. Danielle?
Aye.
Tim? Aye. Dawn?
Aye.
Kathleen?
Aye.
Hope?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. All right. Next in our packet, we have some legal advice from our lawyers. And anything you want to speak to on this specifically, Amanda? About immigration, client alert?
No, I just wanted you to be aware, and I wanted the public to be aware that we are on top of this. We did have some parents call or send emails of concern. But there are certain things that we are bound by law to do. Those are outlined in this client alert. There are some things that we will do to protect the children in our district and protect their rights under FERPA. Those are outlined in this legal guidance. But basically, we are bound by some parameters as far as the immigration statutes and such. So I just wanted the board to be aware that we are working on this, that we will protect the kids in this district to the extent possible by law. And I wanted our community to know that also.
Okay. All right. Any questions on that? All right. So next we got a bunch of policies. Before we start that, I just wanted to say we did get some legal advice from our lawyers about policy JLP. That is in your packet. It could be, so, there is some possibilities of if we don't pass this. So that is some things there. But what made me feel better was that his advice here pulls out of the RSA. This paragraph does not prohibit a school district from adopting procedures that permit school personnel to withhold such information from a parent if a reasonably prudent person would believe that the disclosure would result in abuse, abandonment, neglect pursuant to RSA 169(c)(3). So that does have a level of protection for the child, which is good because that's what we're concerned about. And so the change that I wanted to make to the policy that we had in here. So if you look at the policy, JLP, on the 3rd paragraph, it says the superintendent is authorized to adopt procedures. I would like to just change that to the superintendent shall adopt procedures that permit district personnel. So that way they have procedures in hand. So that way that we are prepared and we're ready to go.
So say that again, Tim.
So on the 3rd paragraph, change the word is authorized to
Okay.
shall.
Okay,
Instead of is authorized to, change that to shall adopt procedures.
okay.
That way we have them on the books and we're ready to go.
But at the current time, we don't have the procedures, right?
Correct. Yeah. But this is just directing them, the superintendent to
Yeah.
adopt some, so.
So, all right, to include JLP in the batch for
Yes.
second reading?
I think so. If that tweak is fine with people.
All right, so I make a motion that we approve for second reading and adoption, policy JLP, parental notification of and involvement in student welfare, policy EBCH-E1, chemical safety and chemical hygiene plan procedures, policy EBCA, crisis prevention and emergency response plans, policy EH, public access to school district records, policy EH-R, administrative procedures for public access to district records, right to know requests, policy EH-F1, public access to school district records, request for waiver of electronic communication record charge, policy EH-F2, public access to school district records, affidavit of I can't say that, indigence, I'm not gonna be able to say that word. You know what it is, for waiver of electronic communication charge, and that is all for second reading.
A second.
Okay.
Indigence.
Indigency.
Yeah.
All right. Any questions on any of those for second reading? Dawn, did you hear everything that I said on the earlier part?
Yeah, I did. I was with you on this, so I'm comfortable with the suggestion you made.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's something I'm not sure how much more we can do. So, all right. Any comments, questions on any of those second readings?
No, that makes
Going
perfect
on
sense.
someplace?
The change makes sense.
All right. Okay, so all those in favor signify by saying aye, nay, or abstain on policy JLP, EBCH-E1, EBCA, EH, EH-R, EH-F1, EH-F2, all for second reading and adoption. Danielle?
Yes.
Tim? Yes. Dawn?
Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Hope?
Yes.
All right, that one goes through. All right, now we have some
Right.
first reading policies.
Yes. So I'd like to make a motion that we approve first reading, following policies. Policy JJIC, eligibility for interscholastic activities. Policy JJA, student activities and organizations. Policy JJA-R1, student activities and organizations, eligibility standards. Policy IC, school year and school year calendar. Policy JJIB, school-sponsored athletic programs. Policy IMGB, therapy animals. Policy JFABE, education of children in foster care. And policy KEE, website accessibility and grievance.
Second.
All right, Kathleen, second. All right, go through these. Some of these went through co-curricular committees, so these have already been reviewed.
Yeah.
JJIC, eligibility for interscholastic athletics, first reading. Any questions on that one?
And just for reference, there were some statutory changes in New Hampshire last year, and so these were updates suggested by NHSBA.
Yes, that's correct.
Yep.
Somewhere back there in the second readings, there was, I had to check on the word immediately as far as RSA 91A.
Oh,
And that, remember that word immediately, you all wanted to give me a little more time other than immediately?
Yeah.
Can't, it's in the RSA.
all right then.
So that immediately has to say, but
All right.
I can't find exactly which policy it was in, but it was.
We didn't change it anyway, so.
Could change it.
People's immediate is a little different than other people's.
Exactly, some people's media is different, yeah. All right, JJA, student activities and organizations.
I think that I can't remember if it was this one or JJAR1, where our policy had to do with all co-curricular activities as opposed to just athletics. And
Right,
so
you're correct,
that's where we
Danielle.
kind of
Yeah.
broke things up so
Okay.
that we would still have, we'd still be able to have co-curricular activities, have standards for eligibility
Okay.
as well.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Cool. Right, and then student activities and organizations eligibility standards.
That's essentially just
Yeah.
the same stuff broken out, and so it corresponds with what's in the student handbook.
Correct.
Yep. IC, school year and school year calendar. Is this just like some legal updates? Oh, I know what it is. State legal holiday shall use the names as it says in there. So we must call it Columbus Day. You cannot call it Indigenous Peoples Day.
Correct.
That is what it is.
Yes, you are correct. Yeah.
You can, I think, there's nothing precluding, I think you can call it both if you wanted to. As long as you call it Columbus. All right, that's what's on that one.
And that one also had a change from vocational to career tech center.
Oh, okay, all right.
So,
Clean that up, thank you. School-sponsored athletic programs, JJIB. Participation subject to the rules of NHIAA.
Yeah, I think it was just in line with updated stuff, wasn't it? Because we added the, we broke up the athletics and
policies.
organizations, right? So it did just have to do with that.
yeah, and it connects to the other policies like JJA, JJIC. So they did a lot of work on this to upgrade it. They retitled it, like Danielle just said.
Yeah.
So that it's more inclusive, and have tied it into a lot of the other sample policies.
Okay. And I like it how it, allows us to have various levels, varsity, club, intramural, all that. So, all right, that's that one. IMGB therapy animals, which we did a lot of work on several years ago.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Cool.
Not that long ago.
No, not that. 5 years ago.
It's not
The
long.
Harrison days.
The-
It's
yeah, I
Harrison
mean,
Days, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
that's time flies.
Did this need updating?
So basically Harrison had written that other
Right.
policy for us.
Yeah,
And now the School Board Association has upgraded it and also written.
because they did not have an updated policy when he wanted
Right.
to do all
No,
that
he
stuff.
was
And so he really did a lot of research, and it kind of looks like they took a lot of his research.
A lot of schools adopted our policy,
Yeah.
and so I think they used our policy and built from there.
Yeah.
Because he was very successful in integrating the therapy dog.
Yeah, worked very well.
Because this was a new policy in May of 2024, so
Yeah.
it's brand new. So I do think they used a lot of
I
our
bet they did,
policy there.
especially if other schools are taking it, so.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, so just read that over, and there's a bit much to it.
Do
You
we
know,
have any?
Therapy dogs?
Yeah.
We do have, I'm trying to decide if it's called a therapy or service animal, but we do have one in the district. Yeah, for a student with great success.
So it's very clear in the second paragraph, because we were very clear about this when we wrote our policy. I'm glad they listed this. It is not for students, parents, or staff to bring their own support animals. This is for the district to have our own therapy animals, support animals, which as Harrison's shown, and I think Miss Jamie has been having the dog there, right?
Yes, I
Yeah.
think Leah may have also.
Lee may have
Yeah.
had it too, yeah. So it's been very nice,
Right.
very cool. All right, anything on that? And then the next one, JFABE, Education of Children in Foster Care. I'm assuming these are legal
You
updates.
sure are.
Sure are. So we'll deal with that, it's fine. I'm not smarter than that stuff. Website accessibility and grievance policy KEE. Do we have this policy already?
We do not.
No.
We do not have this policy.
Okay.
But there is quite a bit of information that is in here that I think is beneficial to the district.
Has Craig looked at this?
I do not believe Craig has looked at this.
Maybe you can just just take a look at it. And
Sure.
if he has any comments or anything.
Yep.
That'd be great. Cool. All right. Any questions on any of the first reading policies? Sure. Oh, I forgot that. All right, so, wait, we had a motion yet?
Yes.
Okay, all right, good. All right. All those in favor of first reading, approval for first reading, we'll do a roll call vote, signify by saying aye, nay, or abstain. This is on policy JJIC, JJA, JJA-R1, IC, JJIB, IMGB, JFABE, and KEE. Danielle?
Yes.
Tim, yes. Dawn?
Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
And Hope?
Yes.
All right, those are all set for first reading. All right, stuff for our next meeting. We'll have committee reports, spring coach nominations. We'll talk about all the fun we had at deliberative session on Saturday. Ooh, art presentation. I like the sound of that. Quarterly reports, all that fun stuff. And that is going to be on, I don't have a calendar in front of me. Whatever the second Tuesday is, whenever we get to there.
11?
Yeah, that sounds good.
I only know because I'm looking at my policy board.
All right, let's do it then. Let's have one on the 11th. We'll see all then. Okay. All right. Public comment. Seeing that there's no public here. Thank you. Do we have any personnel resignations, nominations right now?
I do not.
But you have some for we do have non-public though.
Non-public for the purpose of
Okay.
hiring.
All right, so we'll entertain a motion there.
I'm going to go into non-public for purposes of hiring.
Okay.
Second.
And Kathleen seconds. All right. Danielle.
Yes.
Tim, yes. Dawn.
Yes.
Going into non-public. Kathleen.
Yes.
And Hope.
Yes.
All right, we're in non-public. Thank you, Lily. Thank you, Michelle.
Can I get the sign?
Yes, we have 4 of us signed there. Yep.
Yep.
We're meeting in this room on Saturday.
Yeah. So Saturday morning, 8:30, we'll meet here in the